Rio de Janeiro with a big man.
Welcome to Rio de Janeiro. My name is Abid Imam. Our guest for the show is Tamara Awartani, speaking to us from Ramallah in Palestine. She is a legend of the game, doing incredible things for her people through sport and education. Tamara is the founder and director of a Palestinian NGO called Palestine Sports for Life. She's also a consultant and expert in sports for development and sports management. Tamara is a competitive swimmer and played basketball for her nation. She speaks in depth about what it's actually like to be born and grow up in Palestine, living through wars. The light in her life is sport, and as you would know, that's a really key pillar of the show. At the time of recording this, it was a really tense moment in Palestine with the conflict, and it just brought into focus that closer human dimension of being able to listen to someone like Tamara. What is incredible is that through such darkness, there is hope. And it's a real pleasure that we could shine light on that. So please enjoy. Tamara Awartani, it's an absolute pleasure for you to join me on Rio de Janeiro. Thank you so much. I understand there's a lot happening at the moment in Ramallah, where you are. Tell me about what the last month has been like for you.
Thank you so much for hosting me and giving me the platform to speak about Palestine and our situation. The past month, actually past years as well, has been really tough on all the Palestinian societies across Palestine, in the different communities from north to south. Gaza has been really affected. It's been like the fourth war now in less than 13 years. Children and families have been going through a lot. They have lost their houses. They have lost their families. Whole neighborhoods were just demolished. So it's been really, really tough. On the other side of East Jerusalem, there are complete neighborhoods that are going through ethnic cleansing, just, leaving their homes by force. And the rulings of that is also very, really unfair and unjust. But we as Palestinians are standing together everywhere and across Palestine, from Haifa, Akka, Yafa, Lid, everywhere in Palestine are standing as one, as human beings, standing in the face of injustice, and also spreading the word across the globe to stand with us in the form of being united together to stand in the face of oppression and ethnic cleansing.
We live in this world where you see things on screens, on TV, through the newspapers, you read, but it's not really real sometimes. It doesn't feel real because here I'm in one of the most isolated cities in the world, in Perth, and you don't really know what it's really like. So what is the day-to-day life like when you're living in war?
Yeah, it's being occupied the whole time is not a great feeling, and we've been through this for the past at least 70 years now. And it's just like living in small containers. There are checkpoints everywhere. If you want to do anything or just move from one village to the next or from one city to the next, people think that, okay, if you are in Gaza or if you are in West Bank specifically, that West Bank is just, under the Palestinian Authority, you're living great. No, we are really packed into small prisons with open air prisons, basically. If you want to move anywhere, there are always settlements all over the place. If you look at the mountains, you always see the hilltops are taken forcibly, of course. They kick out the people and take their land. They just put a caravan and that's theirs in the end. And people have to fight for their land endlessly the whole time. So even if you want to move from one village to the next, there are always checkpoints. There are stable ones, and there are flying checkpoints that they just, come, park, and then just irritate the people by checking their IDs so you cannot move basically without your ID, even if you're just going to the next neighborhood or to the next city. And like West Bank, from north to south, there are 3 or at least 4 main checkpoints. So at any point when they decide that they want to close off West Bank in a minute exactly, the whole north is cut off of the mid, and the mid is cut off of the south. You cannot move. So you are just basically in an open air prison. And also then you have this feeling that you are always in fear of your life, because you have those settlers who are totally brainwashed and racist. And when they see a Palestinian car moving from that street that both use, it's basically a Palestinian street on Palestinian land, but that they have taken, that they start throwing stones or just shooting at us. That they have killed so many people on the checkpoints. They have killed so many people on the roads with no reason whatsoever, just being Palestinian. And this is something that we have seen in the last month. Has gone really crazy. Just really, they were calling death for Arabs, and it was just really fearful for anyone to be moving around the streets. They don't care if it's children or women or anything. They don't look at us as human beings. And this is something that you always have to have at the back of your head. When you're moving, you're of fear and you're of your life, even if you're just going to visit family across the next city or so.
How have your family been through this time as well?
It's been tough. I mean, my husband's family live just like 40 minutes away from where we are in Nablus. We didn't go in the past 2 years because of the situation. And also then just before, when it rose, it became even more, we were just a day before there. And it is always that you fear for your family. You're always looking around if you are seeing any person on that hilltop with a rock, throwing it on your street or so on. It's just, you have this virtual connection with family. You're not always connected because it's difficult. And one always feels with the people that have to really commute from city to city or village to village just because of their work. Because, Ramallah is one of the hubs of work. So people, because of the situation, tend to then get an apartment in Ramallah to be able to go to their work and not commute on every daily basis, although it's just a half an hour thing. If you compare it to Europe or something like that, it's, you wouldn't think of moving to the place if it's just a 20-minute ride or a 30-minute ride. But here you would have to, because also the 30 minutes are never always the 30 minutes, because depending on the mood of this 18-year-old soldier on the checkpoint, if he's going to stop every car or just letting people move. So it can take you from 30 minutes to 3 hours. So these are things that one has to really account for when just commuting. And for us, even when we want to plan any event, a sports event or any program that we want to plan, it's always very we have to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan Z as well, in case of anything that happens on the roads. If anything, gets stopped, we always try to also, build the capacity of people within the same places that we want to run the program in, so that we don't have to go into these details of commuting. But sometimes we also need to go to remote areas, and those remote areas, which are, called Area C, even because even West Bank is, it's fragmented into areas A, B, and C. So A is under Palestinian Authority, supposedly, but of course the Israeli forces can come in at any point and do whatever they want. And B is supposed to be by security control of the Israelis, and C is under full Israeli control. So even within West Bank, and you own a land that is C area, you have to apply for a permit to build a house, which takes ages, or you don't take any permission. And the next day you find a settler with a caravan and says, this land is mine now. And if I don't steal it, someone else will steal it. And this is the proverb now of the Israeli settlers that is going around, that at any point, and this is what happens in Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood in Jerusalem, is that people have this land. It is in their name, registered, and they have the proof to prove that. And they have applied for over 10 years to build their houses, but they never got the okay or the permission to build their houses. But eventually the family grows and they have to have a place to live. And when they build the house, the government comes and tells them, hey, you built this without a permission, close it off, and we have to demolish it. But instead of demolishing it, they just give the keys to the next Israeli settler and tell them, here's your new house, and take it over. So yes, it is illegal for the Palestinian who just built it with their own sweat, with their own money. And it is illegal because they didn't get permission, which they have applied for years and years and years ago. But an Israeli settler that just came into Palestine, here are the keys to your new house. So it's just like really unfair and unjust, and basically an ethnic cleansing way that they are trying to do all over Palestine, not only in Jerusalem. But the news is always now basically in Jerusalem more, because the ruling of those houses, 800 families will be out of their homes in Silwan as well, in the neighborhood in Jerusalem. This is going to spread over. This is just, for instance, now in Jerusalem, but you will hear about this in the next months or the next, all the time they are taking land by the day. By the minute we are talking now, they are taking over lots of land across Palestine, even in West Bank.
We were talking about this off air, but are you in some way encouraged by the global solidarity? Do you feel like it's becoming more momentum in the cause as well?
Yes, it is, because social media has helped that, and people, like, everyone owns a phone now, and everyone is able to document the truth, document what is really happening, and this helps the world to see it from the eyes of the people who are suffering, the people who are going through everything here on ground, and not just through media channels that are sometimes filtered out, and people don't get to see the real truth. But now the social media platforms have allowed for the truth to come out. And of course, we are very happy to see the solidarity of the world. A lot of countries and a lot of people are on the streets demanding justice for the Palestinians. And this is something that, of course, for us is important, that we are all united against racism and ethnic cleansing all across the world, and Palestine specifically.
If we can rewind it a little bit now to your memories growing up, where did you grow up in Palestine, and what was it like?
I grew up in Ramallah, in Palestine as well. And I went through 2 intifadas, which means I was born in 82, and in 86 was my first, let's say, political experience, because it was occupied. There was lots of war going on in 86 and 87. So I was just a little girl. So yeah, I have gone through checkpoints all the time, through curfews, meaning that you are not allowed to go on the streets when a certain call is out. Even just playing bikes on the street, that was not allowed. And even as an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old, I was stopped a million times just to, take my bike and go back into the house. So it was really difficult. And also going through, even in 2000, when the second Intifada started. And although I have moved to Jordan to continue my studies at that point, but I was always coming back and forth because it's just next door from Jordan to Palestine to check on my family. just the idea of leaving Ramallah to go to the next city, or just to travel, is how much you need time. Although it's, again, with a car without checkpoints from Ramallah to Amman, it takes you at least an hour and a half. But for us, it takes us a whole day, because you have to go through at least 3 to 4 checkpoints to get to Jericho, the borders with Amman, and then again 3 to 4 hours through the checkpoints to get to Jordan. And it's just this always not having this, taken, the dignity is taken from you, is that you are stopped the whole time, asked from where you are, and why you are here. It is your land. It is our land. We are born here, and we are Palestinians, and we have the right to be here, and we have the right to movement. And just looking at those kids, I would call them, as 18-year-olds soldiers who are totally brainwashed at checkpoints, treating you as, I don't know, some kind of not as an enemy, this feeling of not being human in the eyes of another human is a lot. It is big. And also just, growing up to always having a backup plan to everything that you want to do. This is a skill that every Palestinian has. Just to think of a million plans for one simple thing that you want to do the next day, or even in the next hour. Growing up here is tough, but I was lucky to be in Ramallah. I mean, other parts of Palestine are really more difficult. If we look at Gaza, it's nothing to be compared to. But still, it is heartbreaking and tragic for every single Palestinian, because we live for the cause. And this is something that I have taken on my shoulders, is that to wherever I am going, because I had this chance of representing Palestine in terms of sports as an athlete, to showcase the story of Palestine, to give that side of the story of Palestinians, because at that point, if we're talking the 80s and 90s, it wasn't the same in terms of media. You couldn't see what was going on. It was just people to people if you are getting this interaction, but otherwise you would just get one streamlined news, and not from the people from themselves. And of course, then I had lots of disappointments as an athlete, if we're talking about that. Meaning if, I had the chance to take part in any tournament or any championship or anything, that for 1 year I had at least 8 canceled in one summer, and I was 14. So it is difficult, but at least, again, another skill is not to never give up, the perseverance to continue. And this is not something that one gains easily, but living here, you gain all of these things.
How did sport initially enter your life? What was that first memory of shooting a basketball or going for a swim?
Yeah, well, it was, I just started running when I was 9 months. So I think it was directly in my blood, just to being active. But in school, I was always part of all the teams. And my teacher saw this in me, that he let me take part in every single tournament that was organized by the Ministry of Education or in school. But at the same time, my parents were my backbone in this, and they saw that it gave me happiness. And for me, it was always freedom, because in a court, no one can tell you where to shoot it or what to do next, unlike life here. But in court and in swimming, I just felt free, and that's what I continued to do. And I felt that I can also do lots of messages through sports. So I was part of the national team of swimming of Palestine, and I got to represent my club in crossing Tiberias Lake 6 times, which was each time 5 kilometers at an early age. So that also taught me never to give up, and just to keep going. Although you see the end of the lake, but you just really need to work hard to get there. And this is something that I always took on with me, that whatever I want to reach, I really need to work hard to get there. And at the same time, I had the chance to play basketball through school, but also done within the club. And I had a coach that was from like an international coach who saw that I could do more. And he built up my skills. And like I was representing our club in the West Asian basketball. So that was also one of my first to get out of Palestine and represent Palestine in the West Asian tournament in 1999. And it was a turning point for me. Like this is something that I really want to continue to compete, to be part of a team, because they were like my support system, you know. It's not just playing a sport or just winning or losing. It was just having this family out of your family that expands the network that you have. So I had a second family that are my teammates, and I built again a network in Jordan and from the teams that came to the West Asian tournaments from Syria, from Lebanon. And this network is always something that I talk about. Like sports gives you this support system that could support you. Like I can say that I have at least one friend in every country across the globe through sports. And you never know what the opportunities that you can get or give the people in Palestine or vice versa, just through sports and through these connections. So yes, and this is from there I started to expand more and more as an athlete, and then further as a coach.
On the lake, how far was the swim to get to the other side of the lake?
It was 5 kilometers.
Impressive. That's good. And had you ever swum in the ocean before that?
No, never. And it was always really tough because like the first time there was an incident the day before where there were, because it's a lake, and with the wind, sometimes the water tornadoes, like that someone was drowned, and we were like, oh my God, no, what if that happens to us as well in the next day in the competition? And we were taught like what happens if you get dragged down and what to do, just go with it and then swim from under because it comes weaker. And at the same point, I had two of my teammates and my friends with me, and one of them got injured the day before. But we encouraged her to do the swim because we have worked so much for this to get prepared. And halfway through, she got really, her muscles got strained, so I had to put her on my shoulder, and also then drag her. It's just about this not giving up and being patient, and also having, the mind over the body pain. This is another skill that one can really learn through such experiences. There's so much one learns in the lake or in the pool or in the court that really translates into life all the time.
Well, you need to come to Western Australia or Perth and do the Rottnest Channel swim. That's swimming from Fremantle to the Rottnest Island. So that's an ocean swim. I'm sure you'll do really well. When you went to your first ever competition internationally for basketball, where was it? And what were your thoughts, leaving Palestine for one of the first times?
Yeah, well, I moved to Germany as an IT consultant in 2010. And of course, basketball was with me the whole time. So you can bet wherever I am in the world, I'll always look for a team where I could play. And I found a team in Estelingen in Stuttgart in Germany to play with. And I played one season with them. It was a hilarious and a great, amazing experience because you get to play on a different level. And also, with Europeans, a different level of basketball. And at the same time, to have this cultural exchange. At the same time, this was in 2010, but before that, of course, when I moved to Jordan in 2000 for my studies, I got to play also with the national team of universities. So we played a lot with Arab universities. At the same time, I played with the national team of Jordan. So we got the chance to play in Syria and in Lebanon. So that was also an amazing experience. But as an international level, that was in Germany, and I got the chance to also play against the top players in Europe. And this experience gave me a lot of thoughts and ideas that, oh my God, this experience, I really need to take it back to Palestine. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. And every time when I traveled and got back to Palestine, I directly volunteered to start something. So the moment I got back from Jordan at the start from my studies, I directly volunteered with the Palestinian Basketball Federation. Because I have a background in IT, I started up a program to do the scouting of the league, like the main league that was running in Palestine at that moment for the men's league. And I also started writing about Palestinian basketball in the Asia basketball platform. So just to get, Palestine in the spotlight in terms of basketball. Yeah, there is something else to Palestine than politics. There is a lot of sports going on. So I started writing and I got lots of interaction. And the Palestinian Federation thought of let's get some imports to get to play in the league to raise the level of basketball. So I volunteered and helped them to get over 20 American and European players to come and play in the league and coaches. And I also got, girls, like coaches, to come and support the women's teams as well. And for myself, I started coaching little ones to give back the experience that I got. Because when I was in Jordan as well, I coached mini basketball and I coached in schools. So I wanted to take this back to Palestine and coach little ones. And give them that chance and structure to play organized sports and learn life skills. And with the federation as well, we raised the level of the game because bringing the experience from outside and to the Palestinians and also putting Palestine on the map of basketball. So that was another thing that I always had an aim to do.
I heard that you like Michael Jordan. So
yeah.
Playing for Jordan is also a good little link there.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you like the documentary, The Last Dance, on Netflix?
Oh, yes. Of course, I watched every single one.
Very good. What was it like for What was it like for the players, the imports that came to Palestine to play? That would have been a really interesting cultural exchange for them.
Oh, yes. Specifically when they asked, where is Palestine? When I was writing about Palestine and then we got those even emails from import players, like, if you're looking for import players, we would love to come. But tell me, please, exactly where is Palestine? So it was really, funny, but also ironic. And also, this is something that we want to relate the message. Like, we exist. We are here. We are putting Palestine on the map. And yes, we have sports. And yes, we have ports. And yes, we have a league running. These are things that wouldn't come to mind for many people, unfortunately, across the globe. So when they came here, they got surprised by the level that we had in terms of basketball. Okay, it's not that high, but at the same time, it's not that bad. At that time. And also in terms of culturally, it was different for them. They learned a lot. And even we had one documentary maker, Hannah Murphy. She came from Britain, and she wanted to put a highlight on this because she was reading my articles and saw that I got import players. And she said, okay, I want to come and see what those import players are experiencing in terms of, as you mentioned, as culture, or as just, are they having a cultural shock or not? And she did a documentary called Salam Dunk, which was aired on Al Jazeera English.
Great name.
So, yes. So it really reflected on me as a Palestinian living here and passionate about basketball and getting those imports and highlighting one person as an American who at first, even, at the break of dawn when the mosque was saying Allahu Akbar, that, for the prayers, he got shocked. Like, what is going on? So these are tiny stuff that you won't know except when you are here. or just for him to get this, that when moving from one place to the other, you get through checkpoints, and at the same time that that being asked for the whole time for your ID, where you're coming from, where you're going to within your land. This was absolutely new and shocking for him and for the rest of the players, because they have to move from one place to the other to play the games. And sometimes they got delayed, sometimes they never got to the game. So this is not an experience that you get anywhere.
You had some time in Germany, which would have been really beneficial education-wise, playing basketball. Then you come back to Palestine. What compelled you to start the organization that you did in Palestine for Life?
Yeah, well, definitely. It's something that I always wanted to take the experience and give back to the Palestinians, because I got the chance and the opportunity to leave, but many others didn't get the chance. And for them to have that exchange, I am from here. Palestine is my country, and I want to give back. And this is where I thought, okay, there aren't many community spaces for just any kid to play. You have to be a member in a club, or you have to be in a certain area for you to be able to play. So I learned a lot, not only sports, but my whole perspective for sports and my whole personality and mindset shifted from sports. And this is something that I wanted to give, like hope for the kids, not just thinking about what is going on. For me, sports was this really nice space and a bubble that I want to go there. And if I didn't go there, I don't know what would have happened to me mentally, or like my mental well-being. It would be really, really difficult. But sports was really my outlet. And that's what I thought of. And I co-founded with other friends of mine who are also having the background of in sports, that we wanted to do something for the community. So we started Palestine Sports for Life because sports is life. And we wanted to highlight the name Palestine so that everyone knows. At start, of course, it was locally, but now after 10 years, we are globally recognized as a sports for development organization. So yes, Palestine is on the map again. It was very difficult at start because we were, athletes, and I pursued my education as well in sports management through it was the first program for FIFA, the Science Academy in Palestine, together with the university here. So I took that to just have that managerial sports background so that I can continue with running an organization. Although I have also my MBA in business administration, but sports is a bit different.
MBA, not NBA.
No,
Maybe
that
both.
was a dream being an NBA, but yeah, I watched it. So I started this organization. At first, it was getting volunteers to run different programs, and for me to be able to design the different programs to go with the needs of the different societies and the communities, because in the end, in fact, you want to serve the community. You want to know their needs and not just apply any program that comes to your head because you think it's good. So this is something that we did. It was difficult at first to get any funding because we're practically new and no one wants to fund an organization that is not known. So, but what helped me is my network again. So the network that I have developed throughout my time as an athlete and as a coach, I have brought that back to Palestine. So the network that I had globally supported us in exchanges. For instance, we sent a mini basketball team to Italy, and they were hosted by Bari, a club over there, which is Bari, that hosted those kids in Italian families. And it was for many the first time that they have even traveled or left the district. So it was a life-exchanging experience. And step by step, we built up the reputation of the organization, that we were able to, get more proposals accepted within the country with internationals. that we have built the base of our programs. So starting in Ramallah to now across the country, even in Gaza and East Jerusalem. So this is something that we are proud of, that it started with one program. Now we have the ripple effect to have it spread across the country, and cooperating with the Ministry of Education and UNRWA, which is the agency responsible for the refugee camps across Palestine. So we are working with all of them to, build the capacity of the teachers in sports for development, especially that myself and my colleagues, we have written different curriculums in the sports for development aspect, of course, together with the different international organizations. And we are trying to integrate these curriculums within the school system so that all the kids have the chance to experience sports and life skills as well, and in different themes that are aligned to the SDGs. And at the same time, we run those free community programs. So we are trying to open up the spaces from the schools after school for the surrounding communities, and offering inclusive, safe spaces, not only for the kids that are coming from the area. As I mentioned before, Palestine is really fragmented. So you have within the city refugee camps, next to it villages, and they don't get to interact with each other the whole time. But in these community programs that we are running, we are having this experience and a safe space for these kids to come. And the coaches that run these programs are from the place itself, from the community itself. So it builds up the trust for example, young girls to come and play in conservative places, So this is something that we are also expanding and working on.
I have so many questions. I don't know where to start, but the first one is, which sports are the most popular for the kids?
Yeah. So what we are trying to do is to get them move first, because just for them to move and play, because it is very essential for children's development. But mostly the sports played here are football and basketball. There's they're doing also individual sports like athletics and so on. But the community programs that we were offering are mostly football and small games. So just games just to get them to break the ice and just to focus on life skills. Sometimes we do give them frisbee, for instance, or we also give them touch rugby. And all these small games just to get them to experience different sports, but at the same time to let them play and teach them the life skills, and with the theme of, for instance, education, or in terms of gender equality, or in terms of inclusion. We translate that into the exercises that we're doing. And then we have always reflection cycles after each practice, where we let the kids discuss and, speak their opinion. And these are guided by the coach. And this has had a tremendous impact on the children on the long run. So for them to learn how to express their opinions and, discuss things, respect each other's views, and not just say what's there on their mind and that's it, but rather to come out and speak their opinion, not be shy. And all of that has really affected the children, not only in the field or in the court, but rather also in their day-to-day life in school and within their families and so on.
Mm. How do you maintain the engagement with the kids, participants, when you get such severe disruptions like COVID, for instance, or what's been happening recently with the conflict?
Yeah. With COVID, we had to adapt our programs to online. So we had online engagement with the kids through our platforms. And then the coach with each coach with their teams through, for instance, WhatsApp or Facebook or so on, because these are the platforms that are known here. But we also have communities where there are no IT infrastructure whatsoever. So we had the coach within the camp itself, within the refugee camp itself, or within the area itself, who had to, do distance sessions with them just to maintain their health and well-being, because it was really important. We also had different campaigns in terms of, for instance, My Health, My Wellbeing. We had coaches from Palestine and Australia as well, where we had every single day different sessions where anyone could log in and just do the sessions with them It was also important to keep the kids engaged and not to think of anything else that is going on. And especially now with the recent situation that we had in Palestine, everyone was just thinking about what is going on and how we can support each other. It was just, this connection that we had through those sports and through those activities with the kids and trainers in Gaza, for instance. Just, to call them up and to check on them. This has meant a lot to everyone. Just being there to support each other. This has been a lot. Everyone was in the campaign of Gaza under attack and Save Sheikh Jarrah, and these are things that bring the people together through sports and also through the situation. It's just to support each other and keeping each other sane in such circumstances.
Mm. Here in Australia, when we think of sport, it's a very structured environment with clubs and schools. When you have matches on a weekend, you train during the week at your local club. There's different touch points for sport here. And I'm really interested in what are the models for the kids to do sport? So do they join a local club, or is it all basically through the school because they can just start up straight after the final siren goes?
We have two different models. Basically, within the school, there's the school system where they join the school team and then they represent the school in the school tournaments that is run by the Ministry of Education in terms of governmental schools or the UNRWA for the UNRWA schools. And from there, they go from area to district and then to national team of Palestine. But the chances that they got to represent Palestine out of Palestine is really restricted to either political situation or to the funding situation that they get the chance to go and represent. Even if they are really talented and have worked out years and years to get to that level, and I'm sure many of them would be competing on a really high level, but they just don't have that opportunity or chance. So yes, there is this structure, and there are many, for instance, clubs, youth clubs in different areas where, as a child or as a youth, you can go and take part and join the teams that are available. There are also academies where one pays a fee and gets enrolled in those academies in different sports, not only football. So there's also boxing or taekwondo or athletics or so. And then if you are seen from this academy, you would then go over into the next level. So there is this structure, yes. But at the same time, what we are trying to do is different as Palestine Sports for Life. We do community sport. So it is offered for anyone, for any level, and just come and play. And of course, we will build their techniques. We will build up their skill. But this is not our main focus of winning championships or tournaments or so on. Yes, we did have that at some point where we had, for instance, a girls' football team from Tulkarem taking part in the Women's League, because we want to encourage girls to play and also be part of a league, a team, and so on, to gain this experience. And of course, you can always see within the teams of Sports for Life the engagement with each other and the perseverance and the teamwork within them, because we have been working on this a lot, not only about technique. And some of them got selected to represent, for instance, the national team for girls under 16 or so. But again, yes, of course, you have to give the students some kind of action for them to be part of a game. We do this a lot with other teams within the same district, just from time to time, but it is not to get structured or going to the next level, but rather to build teams or to build a community and give them this empowerment in different themes, specifically also in education, as I mentioned.
Even here in Australia, gender equality is a massive focus, and we still don't have that equality at board level or amongst different forms of representation in sport just yet. So is it something in Palestine that the societal shifts are happening? You're seeing some good progress?
Well, of course, not enough, not enough for what I would like to see, but we are working on it on a grassroots level, basically. So through our programs, we are giving voices to the younger generation to do something about it. Of course, this is a very long run effect that we would see the change, but always if you start at the base, then you would see the change in the long run. You cannot change older generations because this is something that they have been built up on and used to, and it takes some of them, of course, I'm not going to say all of them, but some, of course, believe in gender equality and are doing something about it. But if we build up the generations in an equal community or an equal society, and with this in mind, you would slowly change the mindset towards that. So we do this, for instance, in football. We had one of our programs, and still do, in football program, because it is like rarely that young girls and young boys interact with each other. If we're talking about 12 or 13-year-olds, because they go to separate schools anyhow. And if they are interacting, they're interacting with their brothers, or and the brothers and sisters interacting with each other, maybe sometimes with cousins. But the structure of the communities is that there are minimal chances for young boys and girls to interact with each other if we're talking about conservative and traditional places, which is most of Palestine. But with this football program that we started, is that within the younger age of 10, 11, 12, we do mix the teams. So we offer young girls to come and play. We offer young boys to come and play. At start, they have this, oh my God, I'm not going to play with this girl now on my team. And then at the second time, the girl, oh my God, I'm too shy to speak to this. I never interacted with young boys together, so I don't know. And, it's different. But in the long run, and this is, I'm talking about an effect that happened within a year at least, is that the boys saw that the girls can play football. The girls are just a human being, and that at first when they were like, okay, this girl is on your team, and you get those faces from those boys, oh no, I don't want a girl on my team, that they now ask for the girls to be on their team, asking the coach to let us play mixed teams against each other, or even girls against boys, and also choosing the female girls over the male girls to be on their team. So you see a shift, and also with the young girls and young boys, even the young boys are really shy talking to the girls. So that from those reflection cycles that we have after the trainings, that they are, expressing their opinions, respecting each other's views, talking what's on their mind on different issues about the right of play or right of movement or right of education for everyone, basically, but then talking about the gender and what we can do about it. What can you do about it as a youth? And what change do you want to see? And they think about this and take it back to their families, to their peers, to their schools, to their communities. So this is the change that we want to see shifting, It takes time, but it is a change that one can do.
That must be really encouraging to see that that can happen in such a short space of time. So huge congratulations there. As we look at the future, what are your hopes and visions?
Yeah, on a political space, a free Palestine, a freedom for every single Palestinian, no wars anymore. We want to live in peace. This is something that any human being, I think, would wish for. Just living in peace, and we are all humans at the end, and this is a human right just to live in peace. So this is something that I, of course, wish for and see for and work on for. At the same time, just to give the youth the space, safe spaces, to have more safe spaces for kids to play and have this, freedom of movement without, being hustled at any point. And also having this more space for young girls to come and play, not just football, but just to come out and play and have that space. And as much as we can, just to empower the youth, because in Palestine's case, they represent 1/3 of the Palestinians. So they have a lot coming on their shoulders. We just need to give them we need to empower them and give them the space to make choices and to make decisions that would serve them and the Palestinian community in the future. And I think one can do this also through sports. And also then raise the level of education and giving the space for a more interactive project-based learning for the children. I think this is also something that I aim for and work for together with the system here.
How can the listener support or find Palestine Sports for Life? How can we help in this mission?
Yeah, well, you can get in touch with myself through my email and through, of course, our page. We have a website, which is www.ps4l.org. And also then I'm on LinkedIn, my name, and on Facebook. We are there on all social platforms. You can see us, you can reach out to us. We are more than happy to have your support and exchanges of education, any kind of support that you would like to support any program that we are running for the kids, for the infrastructure as well in terms of Gaza and any places that got demolished, to support them through the different channels, through us as well. But also for us as Sports for Life, any support in terms of learning experiences that we can bring back to Palestinians and having those exchanges to build up a system, that would be really great.
Tamara, you're a legend. Just to hear the things that you're doing and the resilience, that you say, quality that you've needed to cultivate within yourself. And it's just something I really admire. So all power to you and everyone there. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much, Abed, for giving me this platform to speak up. Thank you. And thank you to the listeners as well.
So there we have it. A fantastic conversation with Tamara Awartani. Visit abidimam.com to get the show goodies. Thank you for listening. Sitebeat for their fantastic support and awesome website builder. Until next time, keep smiling, keep scoring.